The challenges that we were facing are with buildings, and you probably know Johnson Controls touches about 80% of the buildings in the world. So we're involved in heating and cooling and physical security, we're involved in fire and safety. So Johnson Controls builds buildings, we operate buildings, we can run an entire building end to end, from heating, cooling, all the efficiency, everything. There's a tremendous amount of data that's generated. So for example, we have one building, 2,000 sensors. So tremendous amount of data. And we have systems that can automate some of that processing of that data, but most of the decisions are made by a human being looking at that data and making a decision. And this human being is typically very highly trained and an expert in this area. So what we're looking at is how can we automate the data analysis? How can we automate the insights and the predictions on what to do? And this is a perfect fit for AI. It's a perfect fit. What we're really going for is something that's predictive, so that we can know if we follow these kinds of maintenance plans, or we can predict when something's going to fail. So instead of having a tragic shutdown, we can do the maintenance in advance and then reduce that cost, reduce that carbon emission, make it just a much more efficient building. What we're looking at is energy efficiency, reliability, and process automation. So on energy efficiency, it's all about using, in many of our facilities, it's electricity and natural gas mostly. So how are we reducing natural gas and electricity usage in heating and cooling primarily? So how do we optimize heating and cooling to get the very best results from this building and how we operate the building? And we have plenty of technologies that do a lot of that already. So how do we take that to the next level? How do we make that even more optimized? So that's on the energy efficiency side. On reliability, as I had mentioned earlier, if we have a piece of equipment and it has a meltdown, it has a failure, that's much more expensive than a predictive maintenance. So that's the big part on that side. And then process automation, for us, really a building, just the heating and cooling systems of a building are tremendously complex. I mean, you might think, okay, it's just an air conditioner I turn on and it works. But in a large facility, let's say a hospital, for example, I mean, there's things such as enthalpy wheels, and there's things such as pre-humidifying the air and pre-cooling the air, and a tremendous amount of technology that goes in making that air the right temperature, at the right humidity, and at the right volume, and to meet the requirements, especially for something like a hospital. So that's that last challenge that we're looking to solve there, is like, how do we build a process where all these things are working together to deliver that exact, very, very specific requirement for our buildings? So I've been in technology my whole life, and when I look at technology and how it's applied, it really takes three key things. And one is culture, one is technology, and one is commitment. My experience in business has been finding the right culture fit between two organizations is critical. So I think the first thing when we met and spoke with Tom and the other leaders at the group, we felt that there was a culture fit, that there was a sensibility there. Kind of probably hard to describe what it is, but you just know culture. You know what it is, but you can't hard to describe what it is. But we noticed there's a sensibility there. There's a way of looking at things that's very similar between the C3.AI team and Johnson Controls. On the technology side, of course, we've heard a lot about what C3.AI has done. And like I said, we're still early in that journey, but right now we've been very impressed with what we've seen, and we're getting the results that we thought we might get. So we're at that point right now. And then the commitment. And what we've seen so far working with C3.AI is that level of commitment where they say what they're going to do, they do it, follow up, and that's how we are at Johnson Controls. That's how we like to operate. So I think that commitment comes out in our work with them. So the culture, the technology, the commitment, those are kind of my three check boxes. So that was probably why we chose C3. I think one thing that's been really important is is the expertise in our area. So unlike many other companies that are out there, you've got technologists that are coming in and they're IT experts and they're software experts and they talk about IT and software all day and they're brilliant people, they're wonderful people. Now you get someone from C3.AI and there's someone comes in and they're all that, plus they've been doing buildings their whole life. Or like Mehdi, who just finished his thesis, his PhD thesis on building efficiency. So I'm not just getting a smart techie, I work with lots of smart techies. I'm getting a smart techie who has specific experience in the areas that I need expertise in. So I think it's a level beyond. It kind of brings us where we need to go a lot faster. It's just like having more smarter people in the room. Things just get done better and faster. So maybe not a sophisticated answer, but that's kind of what's coming in my head.